evening. Another episode of Let's Talk. I am Andrea Collins White, your moderator for the evening and Let's Talk co host. Tonight, prepare to be enlightened, inspired, and empowered by tonight's guest who lives by the motto it's never too late for a new beginning. You are definitely in for a treat tonight, so sit back, enjoy, and be sure to post your comments. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Let's Talk 1943 on any and all social media platforms. Now, let's meet our platform guest. Tonight's guest has a passion for developing people by helping to ensure their purposeful development in the areas of personal wellness, transformed behavior, and improved lifestyle. She is the CEO of Bridge of Hope Life Transformational Services, LLC, where services in counseling, women empowerment and parent groups, leadership consulting, professional development, and coaching services are provided. She has earned a bachelor's degree in accounting from the Elizabeth City State University, a master's degree in professional counseling from Liberty University, and a doctorate degree in strategic leadership, concentrating in leadership coaching from Regent University. Wait, did I mention she is a fellow alumna of the Elizabeth City State University? Everybody, everywhere, let's welcome to the Let's Talk platform, Dr. Lakeisha Walker.
Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. I'm excited and honored to be on Let's Talk. So, if you all are ready to talk, let's talk about it. And we don't know what the it might be. It may be consuming a lot of things, but tonight we're definitely going to talk. So, if you're ready to talk, let's talk. This is a very interesting topic on validation. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a very interesting topic. I think it's a very needed topic, something that we maybe don't give enough attention to throughout the day and just our normal lifestyle, normal way of living. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about root causes of validation, the emotional space that we find ourselves in when we're in that place of needing validation, insecurities, how our foundational piece, sometimes if it's not on a firm foundation, how that leads to other emotional things that's also connected to that, and even introduction of soul ties and how that connects sometimes to the need of validation. So if you all are ready to talk, let's talk. I'm ready. I often say and joke about it and say as a child, I used to love to talk. And I would always come home from school and would have a story. On weekends, I would talk my parents' heads off. And my mom would just say, okay, yeah. And I said a couple of years ago, I said, Mama, I really realized you probably weren't really listening to me. You were just giving me that mama nod and that mama. She said, but you talked all the time. But the importance of that now is that what if she would have silenced my voice at that age? I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't feel confident in who I am. And that's how insecurity starts sometimes. Sometimes an insecurity can start just from you having a desire to do something, whether it is talk or color or draw or whatever you feel that strength is. And if someone does not support you in that, it creates an insecurity. And then you will spend the rest of your life needing validation just from that point. It's sometimes we can be adults, 40, 50, 60, and older. But if we think back to why am I in this space where I need validation, we can pinpoint something. And that something can sometimes go back to the 8-year-old person of who we are, the 6-year-old person of who we are, when things have maybe happened to us that we haven't properly dealt with. And now again, it has this open space and this void, and that void creates a need to be validated.
Very good. I'm excited about our topic tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. We're going to get into this very important topic. But now we're going to welcome our Let's Talk crew. So everyone give a hearty welcome to New York native and Atlanta local Let's Talk co-host Carla Morgan.
Hello, everybody. Let's talk.
Happy belated birthday, Carla.
Happy belated birthday to you, Andrea.
Thank you. Now, everyone, sit back turn your televisions and devices way up and prepare for another informative evening as we welcome Let's Talk visionary and host Regina Smithwick.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I missed y'all. It's been a full month since we've been here. We had a little break, as you just heard. Two of my beautiful, beautiful co-hosts had birthdays on the same day last week. So happy belated birthday to y'all. I know y'all had a great time and y'all enjoyed your break. Plus, we have an anniversary. Andrea Collins White is celebrated a anniversary / birthday. So we had a nice little break, but we are ready to get back to talk to you tonight. As you see with Dr. Walker, we're going to have a great show of validation. And to just start it off, I would say that the topic will be validation, the act or process of making something officially or legally acceptable or approved. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. So we're going to get it going. So as we always say, let's talk. All right, we are back. We are back. Thank you, ladies, once again for the great intros. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Before we get started, like I always do, I like to start with a prayer. Lord Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this topic and all topics you give to Let's Talk. I'm so honored and grateful and humbled to be here and for you to be using us as that vessel to be able to give this information out to our talk show listeners. And I just hope and pray this blesses somebody this evening. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. All right. So as you heard that we'll be talking about validation. Validation is something that's kind of tricky. And the reason why I wanted to bring this to our panel and to our audience tonight is because if you have not read my book, Adoption: The Unknown Blessing, the first chapter of my book talks about a piece of validation. This is something that I had needed at one point. I needed this validation from men. And I had to finally get some counseling to realize that's what I was doing, because I didn't realize I was needing validation. That word, I heard it, but I didn't really realize it was what I was doing. And I hope that sometimes during this evening, we'll probably be opened up to a new world of validation. So I'm really interested in getting into this. Dr. Walker, you did a great opening to validation. So validation, the act, well, I said, is like an act of making something or someone official or feeling approved or needed. I think of it as a addiction. I think of validation as an addiction. What do you think about as it being an addiction?
I definitely agree, because an addiction is just an ongoing longing or desire to have something fulfilled. And we continue to have certain acts because we want to continue to try to at least attempt to make ourselves feel that same way. And that's how it is when we're in validation, because each thing is just an open space. Like I was speaking in the introduction, it's just pretty much an open space and a void that we're trying to fulfill. And that's what happens when an addiction takes place as well. We continue an act trying to get an initial feeling. And so when validation, when we're continuing to do things because we need someone to kind of speak to us, to affirm and tell us who we are. And when we break down really what validation is, it is just that. It's looking to authorize or confirm or endorse or authenticate. And so now you need someone to come through and kind of tell you who you are. And that's what happens again. We're looking for something, and it's an ongoing longing. and ongoing longing and ongoing longing. And the longer that we're in that space of that longing, it's like the cracks in our foundation are getting deeper and wider. And then we'll continue to have that ongoing longing.
Right. It's like a cycle.
It's a
It's like a
cycle.
cycle because, like, with my cycle, I'll put myself out there tonight. So, like, for my cycle, it was like we got along so well, but we were feeding each other those validations. Like, we were telling each other how great we were, how I love you, you love me. This is wonderful. You look amazing. I look amazing. Everybody's great, and you get in that, and you're getting fed. But then when it's over, and when that time is over, it was just like a crash. It was like a crash and burn. Like you was on a high. And you was on a high, but as soon as that was over, it was like a crash and burn because I didn't have that in me to continue it on with myself. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't doing it for me. So the only time I was getting it done was with him. So if he's not there, it's not getting it done. So that's where the crash and burn comes in at. And you're like, it's like crack. I'm being serious. It's like crack. You like, okay, when next time I'm gonna see him because I'm going to get it from him. I need to see him because he's the one that's telling me how beautiful I am because I'm not telling myself. So that's where the addiction part comes in. And that's what I realized. And then, when it was good, but when it was bad, it was bad. There was no middle ground. There was either you on a high or you are crashing and burning, and that's why I related to a drug. Because when you're high, you don't think about nothing else but that person. You do anything you got to do to get with that person.
Sure.
And then when you win them, you're on the best highs ever. But when you're not, you are just like all over the place. You don't know what to do with yourself. So is that something, a normal validation example? Or
It definitely is a direct connection, again, because what happens, you have that ongoing desire to have that fulfillment. And it goes back to that kind of foundational piece again, and the ability to know who you are and to be secure in that. And so when you're not secure in that, and other things are at the forefront of your thought process, it leads you to want to feel that. Because as human beings, we have emotional space that has to be filled too, right? Yeah, because we're emotional beings, we're emotional creatures. And so we need that space to be fulfilled. And when it's not, it's like by whatever means necessary. Even if it means you have to put me down 20 times. But as long as you can put me up one time, then it's like, okay, I'm going to accept that. Because I know that this validation is going to come through and it's going to soothe the 20 times that you told me I was nothing, that you called me ugly, that you put me down, that you tore down my self-worth. But now because you bought me these roses, or you took me out to dinner, or whatever the case may be, to come through and kind of soothe that. And you see that kind of walk out, and what's love got to do with it? If you think about the movie with Ike and Tina, from the very beginning, he took control of her mind, right? And think about it now. Really, he was in a space where he was in pieces. And one thing that I often teach is that when you are in pieces, one person will never be enough to fulfill you because you're in pieces. So you have to have this little bit from this person to validate that piece of hurt that you have. Then you need this person that can maybe validate this thought process that you have. This person over here comes through and validate this area that you're deficit in because you're in pieces. So now you spread yourself all around to all of these people and you see it play out in that movie, right? And so with Ike and Tina, from the very beginning, he took control of her mind by telling her, everyone that I have helped build up, eventually they left me. But he didn't tell her everything that he put them through that led up to them eventually leaving, right? And so he drug her through the house one time when the family, everyone was there in the pool, everyone there enjoying each other. And he's dragging her through the house, beating her, put her in the bed, and then decides to bring her flowers later. And that's supposed to be okay. But because he had actually stripped her voice and her thought process, she had to stay there in that position because she couldn't see herself beyond that because he had already gotten to her thought process. And so because he needed validation in a sense, because he had some deficits, right? But he would never be able to admit that. And so then he had to tear her down. And so then she needed validation from him, and he couldn't properly give it to her because he was in that space where almost jealousy was rising up inside of him. And so it wasn't until she really learned her self-worth and learned her self-value, when she looked herself in that mirror, when she was really ready to say, this cannot be life. I no longer need to be validated after I have to be put down. Not after I have to be beat down, whether it's physically or emotional. And now I come back to you. That's trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
trauma. That's what trauma does. Trauma keeps us associated with the pain just for the one positive response that we may get.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
Now, then, Dr. Walker, that was amazing. That was amazing. And
Mhm.
so, I heard you say that a person is in pieces, right? They're
Yes.
in pieces. So I guess my head immediately went to like, okay, the piece. What is the origin of those pieces? What is the
Mm-hmm.
root? What is the root? And so Regina did mention being, the need to be validated in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
By a person that you're intimate with. And you mentioned Ike and Tina. But and I also I thought about people pleasers. They want to please
Mhm.
everyone because of that need to be validated. Then you have those people who are very
Mhm.
materialistic. I got to get this, I got to get that, because I want to I want people to see me in a certain light. So
Mm-hmm.
you have those people who, so it's not just in relationship you need to be validated. Then you have those that we we call them quote unquote brown nosers on the job. Those who need to
Yes.
be validated, right? Because they want to appear a certain way in the workplace. They want their supervisors to, to lift them up and, hey, okay, well, she did this and she did the other. They
Mhm.
that need
Mhm.
to have that what was it desire to have or to experience fulfillment. So it
Yes.
comes in so many different flavors, but I
Mhm.
guess the root of it, it's important. Okay, yes, we acknowledge that it does exist and we acknowledge that we need to work past it, but I think it's important to go and dig it up at the root.
Yes.
And it comes in so many different forms. And so
Mm-hmm.
Regina explained her truth, when she said hers came from when she was adopted, right? So
Mhm.
with that, there's so many different emotional, ups and downs and everything with
Mhm.
adoption itself. With me,
Mm-hmm.
I was not adopted, but I did find out that I had a root of rejection that went all the way back from when my parents divorced.
Yes.
Well, when I was in high school, like when my father, when they divorced and my father left, I took it on. I internalized it as him not just leaving my mom, but he left me. Like he
Yes.
Mhm.
left us. So
Mm-hmm.
from that, there was a root of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
So I found myself in that needing to be validated by other
Mhm.
men, especially because I felt like, okay, he left me.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he leave me? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it comes in so many different, like I said, so many different flavors,
It is. Yeah. That's why each situation has to be evaluated differently when you're saying what is the root cause. Although the situation is different, but I believe some of the root causes are the same. I think it has the same common denominator. And a lot of that can be when you just didn't receive that nurturing that you thought that you needed in the way that
Mhm.
you needed it in.
Sure.
And so again, if, for example, with your situation, when the divorce took place, it was like, okay, I'm taking this thing on personal. Like it's not even about the divorce. It's like you left me, and now what? Like what was wrong with me? Was I not enough? At least that you could have stayed with my mom just for the sake of me.
Right.
It's those type of things that we
Mhm.
have to have real conversations with ourselves about, because an emotion will come from that, and it could come about as you see someone and they may show anger, right?
Mhm.
Because that's the one emotion that's synonymous, that no matter what, male or female, that the world just allows you to show. Like you can show that emotion, but I like to dig deeper.
Mhm.
And so I say, let's get to the second and third level, because it can demonstrate itself as anger, but it could underneath it, it could be loneliness. It could
Wow.
be rejection. It
Mhm.
could be abandonment. And all of that could be root causes of why now we need to be validated. Because if you think about it, and I look outside of my office and I see where the pavement was once together, right? But there are cracks in that foundation. And one day when I was just out walking for exercise, I really received that revelation of this is what it looks like with what I'm teaching about cracks and foundation. Because I can see where the cracks have been filled with a material that wasn't the part of the original design for
Wow.
Mhm.
when the pavement was first. And
Mhm.
so now, although it's holding it together, it's still pieces within that. It's holding it together, but it wasn't, the foundation is not filled with the original design of what it was
Mhm.
first designed with. right?
But oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. And so it's gonna, and so that's what happens with us. We grow when things happen, when we don't have that nurturing, when we don't have that affirmation, when we don't have that person. Again, as I was saying in the intro, what if my mom would have told me, girl, sit down, you talk too much. You're always talking. I wouldn't have thought that my voice was important enough to be talking. And that's where validation can stem from. And so when you go back to a foundational space, the mom's voice is to be that nurturer person, right? And that mom's voice is to be kind of that coddler in a sense, and that protector, because moms, we have that, we're protected by nature. And then the dad's voice is to come and affirm, to tell you who you are, to boost you up, to speak identity and to speak purpose. And so when those things are not working together, and whenever there's a deficit in any of that, it could possibly lead to someone not really knowing who they are. Then they'll continue to seek that. And the more we seek it, we're stuffing the cracks in our foundation with something. And human nature is sometimes not to stuff those cracks with things that are healthy. We tend to stuff it with, it could be low self-esteem. It could be low self-worth, not really knowing our value. It could be alcohol. It could be other drugs. It could be overeating, overspending, because now I have to prove everywhere I go that I am worthy. That's because I didn't get that worthiness from the foundational piece. Right. And so there were some areas emotionally that my dad necessarily didn't fulfill, because as a man, he was thinking from the process of, I need to work and make sure that you all have what you need. So it was some emotional things growing up that he didn't give us, but my mom was there to make sure that whatever the deficit is now, you need to know that we love you and that you're here. She maybe didn't say that, but it was just by the action. But think about it. If none of the 5 love languages being fulfilled in your life, it's going to leave open all these doors.
Yeah.
And it impacts social skills. It impacts your ability to have healthy relationships, not just dating, but even friendships on the job. So when I'm teaching leadership classes and I'm in school systems, organizations, churches, or whatever, talking about leadership development, I often talk about that, because if you go back to that foundation piece, if it wasn't modeled or taught properly, now I really don't know how to talk with you. I really don't know how to respect you. I really don't know, because I have so many open voids. So you might say something and you don't mean it that way, but because that thought process of my most recent conscious memory of when I went through that left me open and void. So now I'm going to be aggressive with you. And it's not even about you in a sense, as much as it is about the fact that, hey, this is inside of me.
Yes.
So one thing that I work hard at and I see the need at is we need to build the leader. We need to build the people within. And then they will be more effective in their leadership roles. But that amygdala, that part of the brain, that's the computer and alarm system, when we find ourselves in that space where we're open and where we're vulnerable, you know what ends up happening? We go into that fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Yeah.
And it's hard to work from an assertive place when everything is going to come from an aggressive place, because I need for you to see me. I need for you to know my worth. And you're still putting me down. Do anyone just see how worthy I am? You mean you don't authorize me and you see all that I'm doing on this job? I'm coming in, I'm staying late, I'm doing extra work. You mean you don't see that?
But Dr. Walker, okay, hold on. Wait
Yes,
a minute.
ma'am.
Because I just discovered something about myself right now.
Okay.
Really. I was
I
always
like when people can be honest.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it out there now. I always was known, and these two could validate this one. I always was the one that everybody liked. Everybody liked Regina. I really didn't have too many people that didn't like me. And I was proud of that. Like that was like a trophy that I thought was a great thing to have.
Yeah.
Everybody likes Regina. I already, I don't like, you don't like me. I'm like, what? How you don't like me? Because I just was proud of the fact that I knew that I always had that on me. But see, that's called people pleasing. You know what I'm saying? Because for me to get that quote unquote trophy, I had to sacrifice something.
Yes.
Because there's no one in the world that you can always be, it's got to be some kind of something. You cannot be good with every single person unless you sacrifice something to get that.
Right. And most of the time, what we're sacrificing is our own peace, because what's most important at that time is me making sure that you're good with me. Because I don't want to make you mad. So I want to make sure, and I want to make it seem like I got this cape on all the time, and that I can always answer, and that I can't say no.
Yeah, there you go.
Our own space, And when we know our own value, it's like, I can tell you, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. And no, I'm not going to be able to be there, and be okay with that.
Right.
But see, that I'm telling you,
That
was
takes
me.
work, though.
I did not tell people no. I would just do, and they could tell me, they could tell you this. I'm not making this up. I would rarely say no. Rarely say no. If you needed me to be there, I'm gonna be there. If you need me to do something, I'm gonna do something. I'm the loyalest person out there. And don't get me wrong, I love doing it because I love my people. But in the back of my head, I was always going to be the one is I don't want you to say that I was not there for you. I never want you to bring up that you was not in any story that you have. You could never say that Regina was not there for you. That was my thing. Like I was like always thinking that because I didn't want that. I wanted to at least have that.
Right.
At least have that I was always, even though I would do things that I really did, I couldn't really be there, but I made it happen, or I did this, I did, but to me, and some of the people I did it with, some of them, not all, I never got nowhere near the return. Nowhere near the return.
That's what I was waiting to get
But
to.
at the time, I wasn't worried about that because I just wanted to make sure, because the people pleaser / validation goes across the board. I just noticed that. I took
Yes,
it
ma'am.
across the board. I just need to change the title of the word from validation with men and people pleasers with the friends. Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was on a panel
All right,
a
my
couple of
audience,
months
see
ago.
what I'm saying? I'm learning just like y'all are.
Yeah.
I was on a panel a couple of months ago.
I'm still going through. I'm still learning. As I just found out, I just figured that one out.
Yes, ma'am. And I love people who can be honest, even in this seat. Even consulting or even in counseling sessions. I'm probably the worst at that, at exposing, but I would tell them, hey, I'm human like you are. So I can tell you what will work because I'm applying it in my own life. Like, we're in this thing together. And so, but I was on a panel a couple of months ago at a church, and it was a mental health panel. And she asked me what was my topic. I said, I can easily do the basic mental health diagnoses and things like that. But the topic that I felt led to talk about was the redefined perspective. The redefined perspective. And in that, I help them to redefine words, because it's our thought process and how we perceive a word that's going to control our actions. So if we think I need for you to say that I'm always there and that she's loyal, that means you be working till your tongue is hanging out and you're sweating. And then if that person doesn't recognize what you've done for them, then it leaves you feeling bad about all the work that you've done, because you still need them to tell you job well done, versus you knowing that you can stand firm on who you are and that you know that you've done your best and say, I've done a good job myself. I can keep this on myself now.
That's so good. That's so good.
That is excellent.
Wow.
That's where I had learned now. I actually learned that now, and I have a voice. And if I don't want to, I'm not. And if you don't, I did enough that you should know that I'm a good person, and I shouldn't have to do every little thing to prove how good friend I am to you, because we're all human. And then the thing about it is, this is like my own therapy session, y'all. I'm sorry. But the thing about it is, they would say no to me in a minute. They would say no to me in a minute. They'll tell me they can't do this, they can't do that, but that's their right, and they're supposed to do that. They're supposed to do that. That's me. I got nothing to do with them, because they doing what they supposed to do. If they not able to do it, they should say no. But I was like holding on to that trophy per se, that I'm thinking that I'm supposed to continue to do that. But I tell you no more.
Yes, and the more that concept of who you are is strengthened, it will help you. It will help you to set those healthy boundaries. Which when we set healthy boundaries, we're breaking barriers, right? And we're demanding people to give us that respect that we deserve. But we can't expect people to love us any more than we love ourselves. And I think we expect that so often. We expect others to love and respect us more than we're loving and respecting ourselves. Not knowing is when we show that love and respect for us, that we demand that. It's like you walk in the room and people are at attention because they can tell the love and the respect that you have for you, and they're going to give you what you give you. So we shouldn't expect other people to give us more than we're giving ourselves when it's our life and it's our bodies. It's our thought process. And so we have right to put blockers around what we allow to come into our thought process. Because what enters into that space, it controls our actions, because thoughts impact emotions, emotions impact actions. So once they get in our thought process, then we got to deal with this whole emotional space of what it's going to put us in, right? So the thought behind, I was adopted, the thought behind, my parents went through a divorce, and then the emotion that rose up because of that, it can lead to other actions, right? So you see how it works? Yeah. And then the action is what causes us to stuff those cracks with something, because now I have a crack in the foundation because I was adopted. I have a crack in the foundation because my parents went through that divorce. And if it impacts me emotionally in a negative way, all of my actions are going to be stuffing these cracks with something until I really deal with the root cause of the why I'm feeling.
But a lot of it, yeah. Go ahead, Carla. Go ahead.
That's been my experience. Just put a little bit of my stuff in there out there. You know, I'm not gonna say which, but you know, my parents, you know, one was more of an affectionate person, and I got my affirmation from, and the other was more of a doer and not as affectionate. And I ended up, you know, in relationships gravitating towards people who didn't give me what I desired as far as affection. I needed that validation, if you know, a hug, a kiss, or whatever, coming from a partner, or you know, demanding that. You know what I mean? And I think that's due to I don't know if you want to call that childhood trauma, or if that's just a childhood experience. You know, can you go into that?
I will, because I have a certification in trauma as well. So I'm a certified trauma and resiliency practitioner. And so one thing that I learned about trauma is we sometimes connect the emotional place to the event. So the traumatic event is different from the trauma. The trauma is the emotional space that we find ourselves in because of the event. Right. And so I can definitely see how again that can be traumatic, because when you're going through different things, whether it is divorce, whether it is someone not showing us the love that we need, it leaves anything that leaves you in a negative emotional space is a traumatic event. And so the emotional attachment to that is trauma. And then how trauma impacts the brain. Yeah, you have that amygdala again. That's that computer and alarm system. And then you have the part of the brain that reminds you of those most recent conscious memories. And so although each relationship was different, you had that one underlying longing. And that was belonging, and for someone to tell me who I was. And so if it means you going from person to person, right? The most recent conscious memory was still negative. It was still a negative feeling, but because that longing was still there, it kept you going from person to person to person, getting the same pain. Yes. Because you still had that longing. And the inner desire is that really the desire for us to have that inner healing. And when we find ourselves in that place of inner healing, then we no longer need that from other people. It becomes okay because we deserve it, but I don't need that, you know, in a sense. Yeah, I've had some hard talks with myself over the years. Some hard talks with myself, very hard talks. Some very crying moments, some hard moments. But if it helped me, and I knew it was, helped me to build myself and to know who I am and to stand on that value system, then that's what I had to stand on. Right. And if that's what I had to go through, even if it meant losing relationships, friendships, males, or whatever, it's like, okay, for once, Keisha, you have to be the most important person to you, and anything outside of that, you can't have it in your life.
Right. And you know what's painful to see is when you going back to not even just an intimate relationship, but even in a friendship, when you see two people who are in relationship, whether like I said, intimate or not, two people who are both seeking that validation.
Yes.
That's painful to see. That's what's painful to see. And that saying, birds of a feather flock together, you know, hurt knows hurt. You know what I mean? It seems as though, you know, the people like in an abusive relationship, the abuser in most cases is someone who was hurt or witnessed hurt. So then they impose that hurt that they're feeling on their, you know, their partner. So it's I'm listening to you talking, and it's and I just started just visualizing different people, and it's a bad thing when you have two people who are experiencing something at the root that they never dealt with, and now they're together, and it's just a back and forth. And in my first marriage, I can tell you, we were two hurt people trying to make it work, and it was not destined to work because we had not gotten that inner healing that we needed. So
Yeah.
I mean, and it was ugly. When I say ugly, it was ugly. It was
Yeah,
ugly.
because hurt people definitely hurt people. And so if we're together, we're in our hurt. And my heart goes out really to males. Really, it does. Because again, society has shaped it so where it's almost like you can't connect to the emotional part of who you are. You know, they're told from their childhood, toughen up, grow up, you're a
Big boy,
man, be a
don't cry. You're a
man, be
good
tough.
boy. Don't
And
cry.
it's like, okay, so we're stripping them of every desire to feel, every desire to have emotions, or at least to show them in an appropriate manner. And so then when they're married or dating, it's like, do they even know how to build upon that? You know, sometimes. And so it can be those stumbling blocks, and especially if they're dealing with trauma and things within themselves. And so, like you said, and then you're getting together. This person needs validation. I need it from you, but you really can't give it because you need it as well. And so we're gonna always just bump heads. Yeah.
Right.
It's
And then
always be that time
and
of
that roller coaster
yeah,
happens.
because
And
no
that's
one
when
really
you
can
have the
set the healthy
toxic,
values because
right.
everyone in it is unhealthy. So who can
Right.
set
And you have a
healthy
lot of them
values?
ups and downs, all of those greats and blows, no middles, just greats and lows, because you're kind of looking. And you have made a good point about when you were dating or when you with someone. This is great learning tools right here. So when you're dating somebody, look at certain things, like go deep with people. Don't just take surface answers. Don't, if a person's not willing to go deep with you, then they're not right for you, because you need to know what you get into, and they need to know what they're getting into with you too.
Yeah.
You have to start asking the right questions, because when you start learning yourself and going through counseling like I did, and when you really learn you, it opens you up so much that you're looking at people like, okay, I'm like that.
And you start
That
to
was
see it.
me.
And you
That
start
was
to
me.
yeah.
Because I gravitated to what I know. I gravitated to what I know.
Yeah.
So if you gravitate what you know, you're all on the same boat. You know what I'm saying? But when you're awakened, they looking at you like, what's the problem?
Yeah. And if you're not careful, that will make you think something is wrong with you because now your foundation is firm now, and you're a little more secure, than what you once were. So they will look at you, and if you're not careful, gravity works, right? It'll pull you down before you pull somebody else up, and so they'll have you thinking that something is wrong with you. And again, it goes back to, you all keep this in mind. I teach this a lot, but it makes sense. So I said I make up a lot of things, but not really make it up, but I develop my own terms, but it works, right? And so with that, I think a lot about the fact that the people who are supposed to be people of influence in your life, right? Your parents, your aunties, uncles, your grandparents, the cousins, the people who you think are supposed to be part of your foundation in a good way, if they do anything contrary to break that trust in our life, right? Their voices speak really loud. So when a person has influence in your life, their voice speaks louder than someone else's voice. But when they have done something to break that trust, do you know that pain hits deeper too? So sometimes it's not even about what the act was as much as it was about who did it to you or who said it to you. Yeah, and then all of those things again create cracks in the foundation, and then that's when we need all of this confirmation and affirmation about who we are.
Can we talk about the core again? Because Andrea brought some good points up about her core of her parents' breakup, and my core is adoption.
Yeah.
Was the core even deeper than that? Because for you to react in a certain way, you had to have something to react. You see what I'm saying? Like if I would act in a certain way, would it be deeper to say that there was something there underlying on top of the trauma that happened to me?
Definitely so. Yeah, because again, it goes back to that longing and that thought process of when we take it personal. Like, okay, well, is there something wrong with me? And so that equals now rejection and abandonment. And that causes us to not really know who we are. And in that sense, it leaves us wide open for a whole lot of attacks and wide open for a whole lot of unhealthy things because we're searching, but we're not searching with clear vision, right? It's like we're just out here, we're swimming and there's water all in our eyes and we're still trying to swim. The lifeguard is there. We don't have anything that can get the water out of our eyes. We're trying. And that's what it's like. And so each time we're still trying, we're still trying to swim through this thing, and all of these things are there. Yeah. And at the root cause of that is just the fact that the foundation, again, from the start of who we are,
Right,
that mama and that
and
daddy
how
or that
we are raised.
childhood and those things. Yeah.
Right.
At the
And that's
start of
how
who we
you're
are.
raised.
Mhm.
And we talked about this in other shows, that our parents did what they knew.
Yes.
Because their parents taught them what they knew.
Yeah.
And their
Right.
parents taught. So it's kind of one of the things is I feel that this generation is the awakened generation. I really believe that we are
Hands
game
down.
changers
Mhm.
in like stopping some of these cycles of things that our parents, not saying a bad thing, because they only did, because we only
That's
did
right.
what we only knew.
Right.
So
Sure.
we're just learning now,
Mhm.
and we got grown kids.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so we're just
Mhm.
learning things now. So it's kind of like every generation is kind of getting better and better and better. But I do realize this: when you do your work and when you do awake,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna realize the universe gravitates people to you. It's
Mhm.
an
Yeah.
internal thing that happens that you
Mhm.
gravitate to certain people, good or bad, of
Mhm.
your core.
Yeah.
You don't think nobody sees you. Men, a lot of us who needed the validation, a lot of us had insecurities and low self-esteem. Do you understand that you gravitate to them?
Right.
They see you coming. They see you coming. They know exactly what to say to you. They know what to do to you because you are showing yourself. Believe me or not, you can have everything all look fly and have the weave and the lashes and all that, and they see all through that.
They see all through it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your internal is your universe gravitates you. You like have magnets inside of us, and it gravitates to certain people. Because when they have their brokenness, they got to go to another broken person. They cannot make it with a full person. It will never. They'll see it coming like this. As soon as they see you coming up, no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
But broken attracts broken.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
noticed that.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
because again, when you have, you're either going to have similar values or you're going to have those values, or one person is wanting this and valuing this, and someone else has a value in something else. And either you're going to bump head over those values or those values are going to join you together. I don't know if you
Yeah.
all saw the Mary J. Blige documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I actually had a Mary J. Blige watch party at my office. And so I had 10 ladies. So we watched it in our own homes. And then we came together that night and kind of processed the movie. So of course I had some questions, but and I let them come and talk about their own questions. But one thing that Puff said in that documentary, he said, we were united because of our pain. Because at one
Mm-hmm.
time they were recording a song, her album, and
My
it was
life.
raining outside. And he
Mhm.
said she was crying and I was crying. He was crying over the breakup, over his first child's mother. She was crying because of what she just went through when she was ending that relationship, with Casey. And so he said we were united and joined because of the pain. He said, but I told Mary, but now we have to come together and bring the pain.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when I look at pain and how it connects to validation, pain is pain. And so I say either you're gonna ignore the pain and stay in it forever, or we're gonna stand still and face that pain and work through it so that we can be free. But no one wants to stay in pain forever, because the longer you stay in that pain, you're opening yourself up to all of these other second and third level emotions. I'm going to talk about that this is a shameless plug, in an upcoming Women's Empowerment Day that I have for entrepreneurs that are African American women. But we're going to talk about that and how, again, when you don't see yourself well, it impacts your ability to even flourish in your business. It impacts your ability to even flourish in other relationships, have healthy friendship, community, and you need to be able to do that because you're constantly
Right.
looking for that affirmation from other people. And then you're not able to even put things in place based on your value and your worth.
Sure.
And
Right.
Yes.
you mentioned about it almost being like a drug, right?
It
And
is.
so everyone has people in their neighborhood, or maybe even family who abuses drugs and alcohol and things like that. Well, we have a guy in our neighborhood. Everyone loves him to pieces. He's very respectful to my parents and I and my uncle and all. And so one day he came back, he was crying. He was in a very bad space that day. And he does abuse drugs and alcohol. And he said, I'm tired of people putting me down. He wanted someone just for that minute to speak life into him. And so it was some guys coming around and everybody was just calling him names, putting him down, talking about him. And I stood up for him that day. I said, you all are not going to do that. I said, because he's human just like you are. That's what validation is. Right.
But we
And so
all
for
have
that moment,
something,
he
though.
needed that. I said, he's human just like you're human. I said, now, but if you want people to respect you, I said, you need to bathe. Do something to fix yourself up, because people are not going to love you beyond what they see you doing for yourself. So if people see you continue to hurt yourself, they're going to always hurt you as well. And so, but it's like we can't send with mixed signals where we need validation, but then we're letting people put us down at the same time.
But I feel that one thing you said too is the cracks. You cannot accept or receive anything new when your sponge is full.
That's true.
You got to wring your sponge out and be able to accept the newness, or the work or the awakening, for you to receive anything. You cannot receive nothing if your sponge is full. It's going to roll right off.
Yes.
And a lot of us don't want to do that work to wring our sponges out.
Yeah, because the work, it awakens those things within us that we try to suppress and repress as if it wasn't there, or we trying to put things on top of it like it's not there. And so, but when we have to take the time, like you said, to wring that sponge out, because if we want to use that sponge again, we can't use it, right? If it's filled. And so we got to do the work. Yeah, we have to, because we're worth the work. Our purpose, our destiny, our peace of mind is worth the work. That need to know who we are, where we won't need the validation, it's worth it.
Yes, it is.
It's worth the work.
Woo, this is deep.
Regina, you just blessed my soul.
I did? What I do?
Let's talk.
Look, let's talk. What I do?
I'm getting ready to send you an offering, my sister. That's those four words. Wring out your sponge.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unless it gets moldy, then you just need to go get a whole new one.
Get a new sponge.
But that's what it is. It's
that's
like
false to me.
We cannot receive.
You're right. Yeah.
We can't. And we want. Okay, I'm gonna go a little deeper on you.
Mm-hmm.
When you do all this, ladies, I'm gonna tell you this. I've been there. When you get too wrapped up in getting the weaves and getting the studs and getting the purses and getting the jewelry and doing all this stuff, and I'm fly and I'm doing this and I'm rip and I'm this, whatever you want to use, the terminology I use this day. Don't get me wrong, looking good is great.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, why are we doing it? Think about it. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing it because we only feel good when we are in that state?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Or can we be good in our natural state?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people are like, oh, you cut your hair off, because that is a piece of validation.
Mm-hmm.
Hair is known to be long, the better for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do expose yourself, because you can't hide nothing when you expose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why a lot of people do certain things. That's why a lot of people do things, to kind of open them up, expose them, because they realize they love themselves or whatever the case. It don't have to be hair, it could be something else. But people use those things to liberate and free themselves of that thing, that security blanket.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that when you do certain things, think about what you do and why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Things like an autopilot, we just do stuff because we just, but why?
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel accepted if you don't do it?
When we take the time and get to that why, it's such a liberating place to be when we're dealing with the why, because it's not until we get to that why that we can have changed behavior. And we often talk about soul ties, and people view it from a place of relationship. And that is one of the main things as far as dating, sexual relationships, or what have you. But a soul tie can form in anything that's controlling your mind, will, and emotion. But when it comes to dating relationships, and sometimes when people find it hard to end or terminate certain relationships, I'm quick to ask the question, what place did you find yourself in when they found you? What place were you in? What is it that you're afraid that you're going to lose if they walk away, that you're willing to risk your value and your worth to keep them there, knowing that they really can't fulfill? That's a soul tie, because it has control over that mind, that will, and that emotion. And that's what the soul is. The soul is our mind, will, and emotion. So a tie is anything that has us knotted or controlled in that space of mind, will, and emotion.
Right.
All right, we're gonna have to get some questions. We got callers. I'm sorry, we got so deep tonight. Start from the beginning. We had our own therapy sessions, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We still in progress too, y'all. We still in progress too.
Yes.
All right, Colin.
I said too much. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, Dr. Walker. You're good.
Laverne Martin says, hey, cuz, I enjoy Let's Talk, enjoying it. Yes,
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Yolanda Ritchie, I agree. So very important to address the root issues. Yes, that
Yes.
is
Yes, it is.
definitely agree with that. And Yverne Martin says, what is like to you? And I think that came in when you were talking about how people always would like you, Regina, and you never, you know, so I guess she was asking what is like to you, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to answer it now or you want me to wait.
Yeah, go ahead and answer real quick.
Okay. So what I meant by like to me is when you, now I'm understanding, when you need validation across the board. It's not just for men, it's for women too. And so my validation piece was I always wanted to be the one that everybody could depend on, everybody could, you know, I will never let you down. And that's something you never could say about me because I needed something to show that you could brag about or you could say something good about me. See what I'm saying? So just like a guy would say, oh, you're beautiful, I love you, whatever, a woman or a friend would say, Gina's great. She's the best friend ever. She's always there. She's this and that. Like, because you want to hear somebody keep telling you how great you are across the board. So that's what I meant by saying that I always wanted to make sure that I was everybody's friend because I felt that that was a trophy that I was upholding.
Regina, you know, I'm sorry. I know you're going to go on to.
No, go ahead.
But while you were talking, you were saying how you always wanted to be there for other people. You didn't want anyone to say, you know, no one was there for me or Regina was not there for me. Do you think, and I know you said that's because you felt like that was a form of you validating yourself, like you having that trophy of being known as the one who was always there. But could that have been something related to the adoption where you didn't want anyone to feel rejected because maybe some deeper things that you were feeling because you didn't want anyone to, and
you all are connected. I love it.
Yeah. This is 40 years in the game right here. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm wondering, like, if it was that too, you didn't want anyone to ever feel that thing that you felt. So, you know, even if it, and God bless you, even if it meant flying out to California to be there for someone, you know what I mean? You're there for them. You know, it doesn't matter where they are, what they do, how they do it. Regina is there to support, you know, and I'm just questioning, could that also be connected to the, you know, to the adoption where you don't want anyone to feel neglected or by themselves?
Yeah. I would say yes, because that's considered part of the abandonment issue kind of thing. So yeah, I would say that could be a part of it too. And that's the thing that you brought up is I'm glad you brought that up because we are so complex. We're not just one layer of anything. So we can't just say, oh, this is the only reason why I do this. No, it's so many little layers of things that why you do what you do. And I'm still in development stages of like digging up that stuff. I do know the cores of it, but then there's always little elements that, like you said, you just brought one in. It's a little bit of everything, a little spice of everything that kind of made me, but but I don't want people to think that I do because I do for people because that's
absolutely.
That's just my core. That's the way I show you I love you. I'm a very loyal person. It's just me. So that's always going to be me. That's not going to change. But it's the people, the choice of people I do it for.
Yes.
Question. It's not I want to change what I do because that's what I am. But I got to be selective of who I do it with. Because everybody doesn't deserve that type of loyalty.
Yes.
That's different.
So true.
All right, go ahead, Collins.
Yes. Lori Armstrong says this is some good stuff.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Adrienne Hardy says, yes, Regina, ask questions. And that was when you were talking about get deep with people that you're dating. So absolutely. Victoria Dent says, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah. Lori Armstrong says, does your language of love equal your need for validation? When I did the quiz, mine was quality time. And that is something I do crave in relationships.
Okay.
Yeah. Carla Stain. Hey, Carla. Once you give yourself that first place position and love and accept yourself, you will find you won't need or care about others' opinions and or validation. Trust in yourself. Come through for yourself. Love yourself. You are always supposed to be the most important person in your life. That is a word right there.
It is. Yeah.
You know, you are number one. It's like my mom says, it's your time. It's you.
Right.
It's about you. It's your time now.
Amen.
It's about you
Oh.
first. So yes, I agree. Thank you so much, Carla, for that. Yolanda Ritchie says we need to back up off academics a bit and take more time to teach children self-value and self-worth. I guarantee it will make a world of difference, and the academic process would follow.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
The core,
Yes.
That's
I
true.
agree.
I've worked with some students, and that's so true. Yeah, yeah. And teachers have been able to attest to a difference in their ability to concentrate, manage emotions better, and how that's impacting their academics. That is so very true.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. She also says, "Bring out your sponge."
I gonna put that on a T-shirt.
Yes,
I'm like, bring out your sponge.
you better trademark it.
Carla said, "Not the moldy Carla."
Not the moldy
And
sponge.
you get a new one.
Yes, I gotta get too bad. You gotta change them in. But to go back to what Lori Armstrong said about
Yes,
love languages,
yes.
touch that real quick.
That was
So
a
the love
asking a
languages
question.
is I'm gonna give my opinion, but the doctor's gonna go ahead and
Okay.
put a stamp on it. When you have your love languages, your love languages is what you desire. That's what how you speak love. That's how you speak love. That's great. But you or need to speak that to you, so you got to feel full first. You know what I'm saying? And that love that somebody gives you is a compliment of it. The problem is a lot of us don't have that core taken care of first. And we're seeking out that love language for somebody to be validated because that's what you need to feel loved. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of put that in you first, feel that love first for you, and find somebody to compliment you on what you like. Because you want to feel the love to come in the way you would like to be loved, but you can't go into it with that sponge full.
Yeah.
All right, so
You know, my
Right,
love
Doc.
language is quality time as well. It is. So I think the love language again is just what we need to feel love, but it's also the way that we show our love to other people. So that can very well be something separate from the need of validation, because again, we all have a desire and need to be loved and to show love. So it can definitely be something different. And I think that as people, again, when we're getting to our own why and our own root causes and we're questioning ourselves, we'll be able to ask ourselves, well, do I need quality time from that person to validate me? And if so, then that's an issue. But if I just want quality time, just because that's just how I show love, that's a different scenario.
Right, that's the difference, right?
That makes
So
sense.
Yes.
That
So
makes a
Lori
lot.
just came back, Dr. Walker. Lori just came back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you put the
And she said, "Do I need to just learn to spend quality
Yes.
time with myself?"
Again, yes, because again, we can't expect other people to give us things that we're not giving ourselves. And so when we attract people into our lives to love us the way that we desire, it's because first they've seen us giving ourselves love in that way. So quality time, again, is my love language. And I tell people I spend time with myself daily. So whether it's me giving myself 30 minutes to 45 minutes to either sit in my car, to sit still, I may have my phone on mute. Like last week, I had my phone on mute, my personal cell phone at that, for 3 days. But sometimes you need to spend that quality time with yourself, and you can decide what that quality time is. It could be you just sitting still. I love journaling and writing. So it could be that. It could be listening to music. It could be maybe catching up on some of my favorite TV shows. But yeah, spend that time with yourself first. And again, when you're with someone, they're going to follow suit because you've already set the stage on this is what I need to be loved. And anything less than that, I'm not accepting.
Right.
Yeah.
And another thing is too, I'm not saying I'm going to be general with this one. I'm just tapping on it because Lori brought it up. So a lot of us that don't spend time with ourselves are running from ourselves. We don't like who we are, and we're not happy or who we are. So it's so easy to trigger off like the squirrel syndrome. Squirrel, where? Like you just go, you going to whoever just because like just tell me I'm great because I don't really like myself. So I just need you to do it for me because I just don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want
that's
to do
why
the work.
sometimes people say
I don't want to do
busy.
the work.
Yeah, because they don't want to face the music about what's really happening in their life.
Yep.
And I said, but you can't stay busy 24/7. And you know what
Right.
happens? It causes those thoughts and anxiety to increase and to be triggered because now your thoughts are still racing.
Sure.
And then you feel it in your physical body because now you're not as energized as you once was. It impacts your
Right.
concentration. You're not able to concentrate the way that you should. And the root cause of that is because you're doing something to keep busy to avoid dealing with that part of yourself that you don't like.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. You know what? I want to applaud Lori for taking that
Yes.
Yeah.
love language, because that's good to know. And
It is.
I suggest, that anyone who is in a relationship, considering a relationship, get to know what your and communicate it
Yes.
with your significant other, because Lori's love language is quality time. But let's say that the person that she's with is his love language is acts of service.
Mhm.
So to him, I'm going to show you I love you by doing. And to her love language is, I'm showing you, I want to be loved by you spending time with me. So it's like, so that's what love looks like to me. Doesn't mean that this person doesn't love her or that she doesn't love him. It's just they love differently. So
That's that redefined perspective I was talking about. We have to learn how to redefine words based on what it means in our relationship and in our personal lives. Yeah.
I know Juanita Bynum years ago when she was married, she and her ex-husband had this series called Show Me How to Love You.
Yes.
So, show me how to love you. I can love, yes, but am I loving you the way you need to be loved? So, so yeah, so when that validation, this is
something. Now, I told y'all this is going to be a doozy tonight. I knew that. Thank you, Carla. I knew that was going to be a doozy tonight. Now, I'm telling you, this validation goes so deep. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you taking this journey with us this evening because it is deep. Yeah. And like I said, we are here. We are learning just as you. We're putting ourselves out there. I would recommend to somebody. There's a Dr. Walker is you see how wonderful she is. She has a practice. If you need help, if you need to know what you need to do, she is here. She has her information scrolling across the bottom of the screen. There's her phone number. There's her website. Please contact her. She is wonderful. Virtual world is wonderful now, so you could do things for people all over the world. So you don't have to be local anymore. I did my work. Everybody here has done their work.
Yes.
We all had counseling. We all had spiritual counseling.
Doing my work. It'll be a continuum.
Yes, me too. We all had spiritual counseling. We all had life coaching. We all had different counselor sessions. We all did our work here. So you're talking to people who went through this and understand where you at. If you're at a situation that you keep making the same mistakes, you keep still going to the same guy and the different name, but they're the same people over and over and over again, it's because you're attracting what you are. And a lot of times we don't take the time to learn who we are because we are so busy trying to just get this American dream and get what they said we need to be at this point of our lives, and we need to have this at this point. And we're too busy worrying about what everybody else is telling us to do, and we're not stopping long enough to just love ourselves. And when people say love ourselves, I'm not saying just go out there and get your nails. No. Learn who you are internally so you could, like you said, show them how you need to be loved because you now understand who you are. Until you do that, your friendships, your relationships, your job will never be where it needs to be. And you're always going to take everything personal. You're always going to assume things. You always going to, because you when you don't know who you are, you always think somebody's out to get you. You gonna always have that feeling like, oh, they're gonna want, and they're gonna try to get my job, they're gonna try to do this, they're gonna try. If you know who you are, you'll be like, look, I know who I am, I'm a child of God, I know who I am. Whatever you do, I'm gonna be cool. It's gonna work out. You're not even gonna have that in you no more.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because we can talk ourselves out of good things or things that can be good for us just because because we have those insecurities within ourselves, right? We can talk ourselves. I remember even going back to, I'm tall. You all maybe can't tell that because we're here. And
me and Cookie
Andrea. I met Andrea in person. I was like,
the tall posse in the house. I'm 5'10".
Yeah.
40, but
coaches and teachers and everybody always wanted me to play basketball. Well, I had an anger problem. And so I knew that I would probably be out there fighting. So I'm like, this is too much of a contact sport. The first time somebody blocked me, I'm gonna be fighting. I'm gonna take it personal. So I said, you know what though? But I can use this mouth and my love for talking. I can cheer up something though. And I can kick these legs and I can jump and I can do that. And so I remember trying out for cheerleading. And the cheerleading coach actually made me captain. But listen to this now, going back to childhood, my need for validation and to hold on to this subset of friends, right? I was willing to give up what was good for me and what I earned as that cheerleading captain to keep some friends. Because of my need to have friends or my needs to have certain people in my circle at that time. So we have to be really, really careful that we know who we are, because again, it causes us not to be able to choose and welcome those good things that can be for us because we're trying to hold on to what is. When it's another whole world of greatness out there for us. And do you all know I actually declined? And I told her no, because I heard my friends who I thought they were talking and saying things. Well, Keisha gonna think she better than everybody else now just because she's the captain. And I don't even know if I'm gonna be listening to her. I may not even be on the cheerleading court now if Keisha's gonna be the captain. So as I'm hearing all this chatter, remember I said when people are in your lives, how close they are, they have influence and their voice speaks loud. It magnifies, right? And it controls what you do. And so because of that, I wanted to maintain that friendship or those friendships, and I declined. And I went home and talked about it with my mom, and I processed it. Even being over the weekend, I went back to school that Monday, and I talked with the cheerleading coach. And I said, I changed my mind. I said, did you choose someone else? She said, no, because you were the best one for it.
Okay.
And so it was in that point. See how she affirmed. You see how it's working?
Yeah.
So when she came through and affirmed, she said, no, I didn't choose anyone else because you were the best one for it. And then I walked in that place that was already set for me. And I was no longer needing validation from them because her voice as my teacher and my cheerleading coach spoke louder over what their voices were.
Wow.
And so we have to learn which voice to let be loud and which voice to silence. And so her validation of me being the best and me and her affirming me at that time, it caused me to silence those other voices. And I no longer needed y'all because the coach had validated me.
Yes.
Ain't that something?
That's
Yeah.
good.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta go to the business spotlight. I'm sorry, y'all. Oh my goodness. We'll be here all night talking. Oh, so Dr. Walker, listen. We have to go to the business spotlight. Then we'll go after that caller, and we'll go ahead and get some of these other questions or comments. All right.
Okay.
So our business spotlight tonight is as you see, destructive narrative, and this is a radio show by one of my sorority sisters, Dr. K. And I'm going to vouch for Dr. K because I took about 2 or 3 of her leadership courses that she offered in our sorority for the state of North Carolina. And she is amazing. She's one of these other ones that always she tells you the truth, and she always has solutions. I mean, she's amazing. So she has a radio show, as you see on iHeartRadio and the other channels up here, every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would recommend, if Ashley's be speaking as tonight, she will speak about stuff like this as well. So please check her out. She will be a great person to chime in on when you have questions like things like this. I guarantee you'll love it. Love it.
I love
it.
the
I
title.
laugh because that's what people call me, Dr. K. So when I saw that, I thought another Dr. K. Go ahead, Dr. K. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. K. She's amazing. I love her. And she just started her radio show not too long ago. And she's really, really good. So check her out. Check her out. We'll go ahead to the mug giveaway. And I thought about something a little different this time. So I want to ask you, listeners and watchers, how many series have we had so far? Series. We had so many series. We had a cluster of shows that were related to the same topic. We had several series. How many? If you could just put a number in your comments and just try for it. Whoever gets it will get the Let's Talk mug. It will be mailed to you this week. So it's how many series did we have since we started Let's Talk? Go ahead and try. You better try. Try is better than not doing it all. You never know. We only had so many shows, so the number is not going to be that much, kind of easy. So I'll let y'all ponder on that, and we'll continue from there. And I just wanted to let you know that if you would like to enjoy our shows is on Anchor at all 6 platforms for podcasts. So as you're driving to work, if you're at home, you just want to listen to it, you don't have to watch it. We on all our episodes are on podcasts. So please listen to us on all the Google platforms, the Apple platform. I don't know about Apple that much. I don't have Apple on my Android. Apple. I knew you were gonna say
Y'all stuck.
Right.
So please, if you have some time, if you haven't seen some episodes, you catch up definitely by listening to us on the podcast. And I see people are okay. We got somebody to try. All right, good. So, Carla, you want to go ahead and do the questions, and then we'll get ready to close out. We'll talk about the next show topic.
Okay. Lori Armstrong replied, massage tomorrow then. Woohoo, after talking about equality. She also says, I have truly been studying myself lately because I want to be sure that I am my best self when I get married.
Good.
Okay, very good.
Exactly. Victoria Dent says, boom.
All right. Yes.
Step in the room.
Yes.
Right. Rock the mic. Right. Did you want to go on to?
No, we'll wait because we'll see some other people. Yeah, we'll wait for that one. All right. So as we are talking about validation, our next show topic is going to be your tribe. Your tribe.
Yes.
So as we're talking about validation and kind of healing, I wanted to take these series this last, we get to the end of the year. I wanted to kind of take these series and kind of try to build on top of each other. So if you are at that time, you're ready to do some work on yourself, you kind of know, okay, I got to look at this part of myself. And then after that, I need to see who I'm around, who I'm, giving people my time, and that's your tribe. Your people that you bless them with and they bless you with their time. And you really need to look at your tribe and know, because if you do work, it's automatically going to happen to you. You're going to be like it's like the Matrix, y'all. I'm telling you, it's very weird. It's very weird. It's like the Matrix. You just look around at people that you dealt with forever, and you see them totally different. Because you see you when you used to be in them. Because as I say, you gravitate. So the tribe is very important. So we're going to talk about your tribe. So that will be our next show topic. And let me see. I think that's all we have. So if nobody else, we're gonna give it to the person because she is kind of close. So go ahead, Carl. You go ahead and show it.
Okay, Yolanda.
All right. 3. Actually, we had 2. So I'm gonna give it to her because she did try. So Yolanda, Richie, you will be getting a Let's Talk mug in the mail this week. Thank you for chiming into our mug giveaway, and we'll have something for the next couple of weeks. And did anybody, before I go around the horn, did anybody have anything? Oh, wait a minute. We have another comment that came in, Colin.
Adrienne Hardy says, our pain can make us better people.
That's right. Builds character. That's right. Learn lessons. No failures, all lessons.
All lessons.
No failures. How can you fail something you never done? It's a lesson. So I want to go around the horn. Did we have Dr. Walker, you have anything you want to say before we close out this evening?
It has been an honor. I thoroughly enjoyed this topic. As you can see, I'm just passionate about helping people. I'm definitely connected to my women listeners and youth and like young adults, but just want to be able to help people to be in that empowered space. And sometimes I think people need to see your realness in order to make that happen, for them to even be receptive. So my only prayer and desire tonight is that something that I said, that it touches what needs to be touched. And so I can't say what it should do because only you know what you need it to do. And my prayer is that it does just that.
All right. Amen. I take that. Receive that. Ms. White, you have anything you want to say to the audience tonight?
Absolutely. Wring out your sponge.
Yeah.
And if it's moldy, throw it away. Thank you, Dr. Walker. It was a pleasure. Trust me, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you all for having me.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right, Colin, you have anything for us?
Thank you so much, Dr. Walker, for your insight and your information and just like I said, I'm always learning when I'm on these shows. I pick up, but this was really something I needed to pretty much confirm what I've already been doing the work on myself, and knowing what my triggers are as far as meeting and people and dating and attracting those kind of people and where that comes from. So thank you for the confirmation for that. It's a blessing that you're here. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's totally a blessing. Like you said, I just got revealed something on this show. This is what the show is about.
Yeah.
This is what the show is about. It's about learning who you are. And if
Mhm.
we could put something out there to help you be a better person, we did our job. And y'all just experienced it live on air. I just put some pieces together in my own life right now
Yeah.
of how this works. And it just helped me confirm as well, Colin, and know that I'm going the right direction. And I know
Yes.
I'm doing right. I know
Beautiful.
I'm doing right.
Beautiful.
So you just help me. And that's how God works. God brings people and they speak through and show you that he tells you you're doing right. I'm going to bring somebody to tell you you're doing right. And so keep going. So you was that validation, Dr. Walker. So thank you so much. It was a
Thank
blessing
you
to be
all.
on our show tonight. Definitely was a blessing. Do we have anybody else before we close out, Colin? We good with the comments?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. Yolanda Richie says thank you.
Are you welcome?
And tonight's show was purely excellence. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Mhm.
bless you.
And Carla Sane says, awesome talk tonight. Thank you all.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank y'all. And thank y'all, audience. I don't take y'all for granted. Y'all tuning in every 2 weeks, and we love you. And please share. We would like to get this out to the masses. This is great information. We give you experts every 2 weeks, and this is something, and we are blessed to get these people. They're busy, they have their own practices, and they willing to come on. Please share with your friends, your family, people that you know that need, some, maybe some help or just some encouragement, some motivation, uplift, empowerment. Send them our way. We are here for that, and that's what we're here to do. So I'd like to say thank you. I am so happy. This has been amazing. I just wanted to cry when you said that, because I said this makes so much sense. Oh my gosh. So I do love you. I love you. I love y'all. And until next time, invite a friend and let's talk again. Until next time, God bless. I love you all. Y'all have a good evening.